I remember doing a story about the clinical trials on some of the breast cancer drugs. The people that take part in those clinical trials deserve a huge, huge round of appreciation from all of us because they are at the forefront. And you get to hear the story right now of one of those folks.
Good afternoon. My name is Angela Vanhook. My friends and family call me Angie. I hope you do the same. You know, events happen in our lives that we're not expecting. And 2016 was a terrible year for me. I'm not one to complain, but it was pretty bad. You see, in March, I got a phone call. My husband and my daughter and I were on our way to dinner. I got a call that my mother was going up the steps in her house and she fell and she hit her head on the sidewalk. My mom never regained consciousness. She died in my arms at the hospital. I was holding my mom and my son was holding me. That was the hardest day of my life. I wasn't ready for that. About 3 weeks later, I went for my yearly mammogram. And I really wasn't that concerned about it. I got a call to come back. They need to do more tests. Honestly, it's happened to me before, and it's happened to a lot of people, women and men. So I didn't think too much about it. The biopsy come back, and another shock. I had breast cancer. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have time for this. Really? Are you serious? I don't have time for this. I'm a mama. I have 2 grandchildren. I have a job. It's pretty demanding. I don't have time for this. Guess what? I had to make time. So, my first visit, I'm in Dr. Godina's office, and he walks in, and I don't know if all of you know Dr. Godina. He's absolutely wonderful. He never, ever shows a lot of emotion. He's just awesome. He's a blessing from God. And I'm sitting there, he walks in, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, here we go. So he comes in and he describes in detail everything about my cancer, everything. Not only did he have everything written down and explain everything, he drew little pictures. And if he wasn't a wonderful doctor, he could be a heck of an artist. I'm serious. So I'm sitting there, and after I listen to everything, and I'm asking a ton of questions, and he answers them, and my husband and aunt was with me, I said, okay, let's do this, because I don't have time for this. He's told me I'm going to have surgery. I'm going to have chemo. I'm going to have radiation. I don't have time for this. Open my calendar, and I said, okay. And I started telling him all the dates. I've turned to the next month. I have things to do on these dates, so we've got to get this done. We've got to do it now. And he's looking at me like, really? He's looking at my husband and my aunt like, is she serious? Oh, I was serious. I have to tell you, I am his worst patient that he's ever had in his life. He will not tell you this. He will not tell anybody else this because he's a wonderful human being. I'm sure he's told his wife in the privacy of their own home. But he would never admit it. So anyway, I said, okay, we've got to do surgery right away, so let's get this done. I have surgery right away. And the doctor comes out, and he says, oh, I think everything's fine. Guess what? I get a phone call. We're going to have to do a second surgery. I had a lipectomy. So what they did is they had to go back and get a little more tissue because the margins wasn't quite what they wanted. Okay. And also, by the way, the lymph nodes that we took out had cancer in them. So we're going to have to remove all your lymph nodes. Okay. Went through the second surgery. I'm over that. I'm like, okay, let's do the chemo. Angie, you're not ready for chemo yet. Yeah, I am. No, you're not. Just a little more time. So in about 3 weeks, I started my chemo. Had 12 treatments. The first 4 were the AC, and then I had 8 following. If you know anything about chemo, and you've heard AC, you know that's the red devil. We're not supposed to say that, but guess what? That's what we all call it. I got through all of my chemo, and it was time for radiation. So I was in Dr. Godina's office. Like, I'm finished, let's go. He's like, Angie, you can't go yet. You have to give your body time to heal and recover. Like, oh, geez. Okay. So we wait. And most of the time, you wait 6 to 8 weeks before you start your radiation, at least in my case. I started in about 4.5 weeks, and I went through 33 radiations. Was sitting back in Dr. Godina's office, but he already called me. After my last radiation, they did more tests, and I was told that my cancer was gone. Now, let me tell you this. I'm a strong person, but cancer's a heck of a lot bigger than I am. God has carried me through my entire life, but while I was going through cancer, God carried me every single day. Wasn't that strong? I never missed a day's work. I tried to do as much as I possibly could for my family, but it wasn't easy. And when you're going through this, one thing that you don't want to do, your family sees what you're going through. You don't want to let them know how bad it can be. You just don't. You don't want them to know. So anyway, I'm cancer-free, and I made a call to Dr. Godina. I was sitting in his office just for my checkup, and after everything, he said, hey, I want to talk to you a second. Have you got a minute or two? Of course I do. I'd do anything for that guy. And he said, have you ever heard of a trial study? I said, a little bit, but I don't know that much about them. So he explained it to me. And the one that he was really talking to me about is called the Palace. And what this is, it's a study to where it, hopefully, we're praying, it will prevent cancer from reoccurring. I was like, let's do this, let's start today, I'm in. And he's like, it doesn't work that way. So we did all the paperwork, and they sent it off, and he was very, very, how do I want to word this? He was very cautious to let me know there were side effects. I had been through so much already, I wasn't worried about the side effects. I wanted to be in this study. And I wanted to do it for many reasons, and I'll tell you in just a few minutes why my main reason was. But anyway, they sent the paperwork off, and the result, they have to choose. There's 2 arms to this study. There is a study, part of it is, I'm going to call it the A, and part of it is the B. The A is where you take a medication that I'm already on, and it helps, hopefully, and it's been proven to help cancer from reoccurring. Part B is you would take this pill along with the pill that they're testing. They're hoping to do the same thing, but would be better, a better chance that it would not reoccur. I was in. So the paperwork goes out and it comes back. And I get a call from Cindy Shaw. If you don't know Cindy, she works in trial studies. She's absolutely wonderful. You need to meet her. And she says, Angie, I've got good news and I've got bad news. I'm like, are you serious? I ain't got time for this. So she tells me, you're in the study. You're in section A. The only thing you have to do is you have to take the pill that you're currently taking, continue to come in to see Dr. Godina for your checkups, and do your lab work. The only other thing is just write down the time of day that you take your pill. It's easy. It's every night after I eat my dinner. I said, you're kidding me, Cindy. I'm not doing this. I want to be in the study. I want to take the real pill. I want to be part of this. I want to make a difference. I want to pay back the people who before me did the trial studies. Because you see, when God carried me through my cancer, you ever heard that little poem or story about footprints in the sand? That was him carrying me. And these people that went before me, that did all these trial studies, they were leaving footprints in the sand. I felt like that I needed to pay them back. I needed to say thank you. Because like John, I never missed a day's work. I never got sick and threw up. And it's because of all these people and the studies that they've done, the tests that they've done, and what they went through. I said, Cindy, I'm not doing this. And she's like, really? I said, no. I mean, why? And she said, okay, I understand. And she said, and Dr. Gudina knows me. I told you I was his worst patient. So anyway, Dr. Gudina said, I guess he told her, I'm assuming, he said, if Angie gets upset, just, say, Dr. Gudina would like for you to think about this for a couple days and then call us. And if you don't want to do it, we'll send the papers off. And it's okay. We're not upset with you. Well, when I looked in the mirror, I didn't like the person that I saw, because if it's one thing that I'm not a selfish person. I started thinking about that. If you don't have two arms of a study, it doesn't work. They can't do it. Both parts of a study mean something. One's no more important than the other. So I called Cindy. I said, Cindy, I'm in. Let's do it. I'll start today. Yeah, can't do it that fast. We got to wait for the medicine. Okay, we waited. So I'm in the study, and it's a blessing. Went back to Dr. Gudina's office months later. He said, hey, I want to talk to you. Just heard about another study you might be interested in. I said, I'm in, let's do it. He said, Angie, you hadn't even heard about it. I said, I don't need to, let's do it. I don't have time for this. So he kind of laughed. He said, okay. So he started talking about an aspirin study, which I just found out yesterday from a lady I met here is also the ABC study. And the people who are doing these trial studies heard about me because they're getting smarter. Now they don't tell you if you're actually taking the pill or if you're taking, I call it a fake pill. It's the placebo. So guess what? Dr. Gudina has no idea if I'm really on the real pill or if I'm on the fake pill. Cindy doesn't know. I don't know. I got one over on them. I know that I'm on it because all those side effects that Dr. Gudina told me about, I've got a few of them. And it's okay. But this is what's going to be the funny part. They're going to come back in 10 years, and both of these studies are 10-year programs. They're going to come back in 10 years and say, girlfriend, you were on the placebo the whole time. The zip lining that you did and playing with the kids and wrestling with your grandchildren, that's why those bruises are on your body. And that's okay, because you know what? A and B, it doesn't matter. I'm leaving my footprints in the sand. I'm not here tonight anybody to jump on the bandwagon and run out and look for trial studies. But I want you to do this. Please, if your doctor ever mentions a trial study, please listen to what they say with an open mind and an open heart. Yeah, and I was going to end on that, but yesterday God put something on my heart. Dr. Gudina introduced me to a lady here, and she's over trial studies. And we talked for just a second, and as we were leaving in the parking lot, we talked for maybe 2 minutes. I want to ask you to do something tonight, and I hope I'm not putting anybody on the spot. If you don't want to do it, please don't. But if you have ever in your life had a cold, or you've taken any type of medication, or maybe you take it every day, maybe just once in a while, but if you've ever taken even cough medicine, vitamin, would you raise your hand? I see a lot of hands. Well, guess what? That medicine that you took, you wouldn't have had it if it hadn't been for a trial study. One last thing, Dr. Gudina, I'm not for sure where you are. Hey! Your worst patient. That little joke you told. I want to tell you something. I've always been told that superheroes wear capes. My friend, that's not true. You treat every one of your patients like they're your family. You give us so much love. You fight every single day of your life. You go to work every single day of your life, and you battle cancer. That is not easy, but you do it every day. I can't say thank you enough, but I can tell you this. One day you and your colleagues and everybody like you, you're going to find a cure for cancer. I know it with all my heart. God's going to make that happen, and He's going to help you do it. Just do me a favor, dear. Hurry up, because I don't have time for this. Thank you.